A special thank you to each of our subscribers who make this channel possible. Here's today's story. In a significant political maneuver early Thursday morning, the U.S. Senate approved President Trump's request to rescind $9 billion in foreign aid and public broadcasting funding. The vote, which concluded after an exhaustive hours-long votorama, resulted in a narrow 51-48 outcome. Notably, Republican Senators Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska broke ranks with their party to oppose the package, aligning with the Democrats who voiced concerns about the implications of such cuts. Vice President J.D. Vance, who had previously cast tie-breaking votes to help the measure clear procedural hurdles, was not required for the final vote. However, the absence of Democratic Senator Tina Smith from Minnesota, who was hospitalized, added an unexpected twist to the proceedings. As it stands, both the Senate and the House must agree on the rescission request before the end of the week, or else the funds will revert to their originally intended allocations. The House had previously approved a $9.4 billion rescissions request last month, but the Senate's deliberations revealed significant pushback, particularly from some Republicans who expressed hesitance about slashing vital global health assistance and funding for local radio and television stations. The Senate's version of the bill primarily targets approximately $8 billion for foreign assistance programs, notably those administered by the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID. Additionally, around $1 billion in funding for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, which supports essential public media outlets like NPR and PBS, is also at stake. In the lead-up to the vote, Senate Republicans convened with Trump's budget director, Russell Vought, in an effort to rally support from hesitant members of the party. Following these discussions, Vought announced a substitute amendment aimed at alleviating some concerns by exempting $400 million in cuts to an AIDS prevention program, a key point of contention for Collins. Senate Majority Leader John Thune expressed optimism that the House would accept this modification, but House Speaker Mike Johnson indicated a preference for the original unaltered proposal. Collins and Murkowski, however, remained unconvinced by the proposed changes, arguing that the administration's request lacked clarity regarding the specific programs that would be affected by the cuts. Collins stated, "To carry out our constitutional responsibility, we should know exactly what programs are affected and the consequences of rescissions." Murkowski echoed these sentiments, emphasizing Congress's duty to maintain oversight over budget decisions. The cuts to local radio and television stations were particularly contentious, as they play a crucial role in disseminating emergency information, especially in rural areas. Republican Senator Mike Rounds of South Dakota expressed his concerns, suggesting that funding could be reallocated from climate funds to ensure that tribal area stations continue to operate without disruption. Meanwhile, Senator Thom Tillis of North Carolina, who voted in favor of the package, predicted that Congress would need to revisit and rectify some of the cuts once their impacts became apparent. This legislative action marks a notable moment in Trump's second term, as he continues to exert considerable influence over Congress with minimal opposition. The approved cuts, while relatively small in the grand context of the federal budget, totaling $6.8 trillion, signal a broader trend of prioritizing fiscal conservatism at the expense of international aid and public broadcasting. Critics, particularly among the Democrats, have condemned the Senate's decision as a surrender of Congress's constitutionally mandated control over federal spending. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer characterized the vote as a troubling capitulation to executive authority, stating, "Today, Senate Republicans turn this chamber into a subservient rubber stamp for the executive at the behest of Donald Trump." He further criticized the GOP's approach as one of cut now, and ask questions later. The cuts challenge a bipartisan spending agreement reached earlier this year and could complicate future negotiations for government funding bills that require bipartisan support to avoid a shutdown by September 30th. While appropriations bills necessitate 60 votes in the Senate, the rescissions package only requires a simple majority of 51, allowing Republicans to push it through without Democratic backing. As the deadline approaches for the House to vote on the modified proposal, the political landscape remains fraught with tension. The implications of these cuts are yet to be fully realized, but they undoubtedly set the stage for future debates over fiscal policy, government spending, and the role of public broadcasting in American society. The coming days will reveal whether the House will align with the Senate's decision or push back against the sweeping rescissions proposed by the Trump administration. That's all for this story. We upload videos every day covering many different subjects, so hit that subscribe button to stay informed. Thanks for watching.